Would you
So much for
categorize
you.
yourself as being lost and directionless?
To some degree, of course, yeah. To some degree, everybody is. Lost is quite a heavy word. Like when people say I'm lost, by volunteering that information, they tend to be implying that it's a strong enough feeling that they're troubled by it and want to make it
Are
known.
you happy?
That's why people say it. But when you ask, well, there are different questions here, right? Like, am
I'm moving on to the
I
second
happy
one.
right now? Sure. Like tomorrow,
Are you
maybe
content
not.
in your
But
life?
across life,
If you had to rate your contentment in life out of 10, I'll do the same.
it's not a very easy thing to quantify.
No, but do you think? But I've asked hundreds of people, 400 people this question. Well, everyone on the podcast has been. I asked Dr. K this question.
jump in?
And
let me just finish this train of thought.
They'll give you some
I'll
answers.
pass to you,
So I could
Doctor.
say to you, for example, yeah, I'm like a 5 out of 10 contentment.
Is that true?
Like maybe, yeah.
I'll give you a simple way to quantify it.
I literally can't quantify it, and the reason
I'll give you a way to quantify.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you the yardstick. So
Sure.
if you think about, how old are you?
26.
26. So you think about those 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been months of your life where consistently you've felt really fulfilled and positive for weeks, months in a row?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
When was the
Memory's difficult.
When was the last time, for a full month, for a full 30 days, you felt really good on average?
Out of 10, what counts?
Really good on average.
I don't know. It might have been usually when I have some kind of project. As I've said, I think meaning is intimately tied up to having a task to fulfill. So when I've been touring for the purpose of filming podcasts and doing talks and stuff, like I feel pretty content because I wake up and I know what my task is for the day and I get it done. So on like a subjective psychological level, those are probably the times when I wake up with the most, let's say, drive, the feeling that I've got a task to fulfill.
And are there days where you feel, are there weeks sometimes or months where you feel the opposite, which might be characterized in a clinical context as depression?
Of course.
That's interesting.
Can I ask why you were interested in my answers to those questions?
I was trying to see how similar we are.
Uh-huh.
That's really it, because we both sit in the same agnostic camp, but actually we're very, very different. In terms of I wake up in the morning, and I woke up this morning and I'm very happy and I feel very, very driven, and I couldn't wait. I was actually, the night before, I couldn't wake up. I was annoyed I had to sleep because I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. And that's typically my experience. I'm like, I can't wait to get the sleep done with because I can't wait to get back to life.
So what's it all for?
I don't really, this sounds crazy. And it also somewhat links to what you're saying about, at the very beginning, about people being really obsessed with not dying. I don't really care. I'm just having a great time.
But
And I love having these conversations because I get to learn more about different people's strategies to having a great time and to making their lives more meaningful and more exciting on a daily basis.
But that sounds quite nihilistic in a way, because you sound like Kohelet in the book of Ecclesiastes, who's sort of eating and drinking and being merry, who one day might look at it and realize that although you feel in the moment this is all very good, it's all hevel, and realize that there needs to be something more. And I wonder if the same thing will happen if the North Star that you have for your life and your projects and your career is that you just sort of feel good while you're doing it.
And why isn't that good enough reason? Because in your presumption that you're
It might
saying,
be.
because someday I might get hit by this bus of realizing that it was worth nothing. But for the 70 years up until I die,
Yeah.
I'm going to wake up in the morning, feel good. I'm going to love spending time with my girlfriend and my dog. And whatever neurochemicals in my brain are going to reinforce me to keep doing that. And
Does it bring meaning?
yeah,
What
my life. Yeah.
What does that mean to you? And the reason I ask that is because conceivably you can imagine someone who's happy but their life isn't meaningful, and you can imagine someone who's suffering but their life is meaningful, like a victim of the Holocaust or something, right?
A lot of parents as well.
And so you've got the happiness part, but you also think that you've got sort of meaning. And what is that meaning, and where's that coming from?
So meaning for me is something that I create by the decisions that I take. And this might go down to what you were saying about having certain tendencies. I have certain tendencies. I have nature and nurture acting against me to make certain things feel meaningful to me. And one of those things is this pursuit of more information. I do it when you go and I get some free time tonight. I'll be on YouTube learning about humanoid robots. Or I might stumble across a video, one of your videos, which I've watched many times, and I've watched your videos many times, and I've watched your videos many times. Not because I necessarily believe I'm ever going to get to the final answer, because it's the doing itself that I find so enjoyable. And actually, I could kind of relate to the guy that knows the world's going to end but writes the book.
Yeah, right.
Because it's the writing of the book that I love.
Yeah,
So here's what I think is beautiful. So I think if you guys go back and you watch this, every scientific principle is what Stephen is doing. So self-determination theory, right? So he's self-directed. He stretches his capacities. He relates to other people. And I think it's a really brilliant example of sort of like this problem of finding like meaning with a capital M, and relates to this kind of idea of, if you're feeling directionless in life, I don't know that you need to figure it out with a capital M. And if we listen to some of your questions, right, is it enough for you? And then Stephen's like, why wouldn't, why do you assume that you need? So there's sort of this very natural like reaction. And then he's kind of like, no, I'm actually pretty content. And I think that my favorite thing about your answer is that getting as far as you have, I think you've got your instinctual answer of 5 out of 10 is still correct. Because this is as far as you go. And I think you feel this hunger for like something else. And that thing is going to be big. Right. And I think that's what maybe Greg can help us out with. Right. Because I think it's a beautiful way of embodying, I think, how we find meaning in life. There's a bunch of psychological stuff that you can do, but it appears that doing some of this weird transcendental, like you got to like find it in sort of this big way. Mm-hmm. And I think you're a perfect embodiment of how far you can go.
Let me offer a clarification based on the questions you were asking Alex, because I feel in many ways very sympathetic to Alex as he described his subjective states. Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Do you have meaning in your life? And I think the tendency sometimes is to talk to somebody who is very confident of their understanding of the big picture, and think that everything's going wonderful for them. You look at their life and say, well, everything's just great. Are you happy? I'm happy all the time. I have the truth, kind of thing. But that's not exactly how it works. Mm-hmm. I'm fully convinced of the truth of the Christian worldview, God's existence, Jesus, all the things that relate to that, human beings made in the image of God. I think it's the best explanation, all things considered, for the way things are. Nevertheless, I'm still a fallen human being, learning to be virtuous with God's help. I am still living in a world that is fallen and broken, and I have to live with all the contingencies of a fallen world. So if you were to ask me the question that you asked Alex, I would have the same difficulty answering that Alex did, because it's so variegated, one's life. When I wake up in the morning, do you feel good? Sometimes, sometimes not. Am I confident that no matter what happens in my life, the good, the bad, whatever, that there is a foundation there that gives me stability? Yes, because I think that foundation, God, eternal mind, exists, and I'm in proper relationship with him. But part of the reality is this is a vale of tears. How did Job put it? Something about the sparks flying upwards. It's like life is difficult. Actually, I like the saying, life is hard, and then you die. It gives me a perspective on things. Jesus himself said, in this world you'll have tribulation.
Are you happy?
That's the experience. But the underlying is, be of good cheer, Jesus said, because I have overcome the world.
Are you happy?
Well, we're back to that question again, how you characterize it.
You said earlier on that you felt there was a certain path that Alex was going to go down, but Greg didn't.
Gonna go down.
Should?
Okay.
Or something?
It's ready for him.
Okay, it's ready for him.
Yeah.
But you didn't say that about Greg.
Yeah.
And so when you look at these two individuals,
yeah,
and you think about contentment and happiness, and whatever that word is, can you feel with your intuition that
sort of? So first thing is, this is where I know it's gonna sound insane. I'm fucking tanking my brand right now because I used to be believable, I guess. But so first thing about intuition, right? If we look at intuition technically, I can't activate it. Right? When you have an intuition, it comes. It happens. So that's what's so frustrating about this, is everyone thinks like, okay, if you do Agnya Chakra Sadhana, which is weird third eye stuff, then you can do this thing. I can't do anything. I am before God, and when God chooses to let me know something, that's when I get it. Now, if I had to answer, I think I am not surprised about the difference in baseline contentment between these two people. Right? So if you were to ask, why do I relate to Greg in this way? Now, whether this is at a conscious level, neurological level, whether there's truly a spiritual level or not, right? So am I just reading into him, doing pattern recognition based on what he says and stuff like that? But that's not what my lived experience of it is. I know this man has seen God.
And it's not, is it his behavior, his body language, no.
I mean, I don't think so. Right. So I've met some people who have very unhappy lives who still have that foundation of spiritual contentment, and some people who have very unhappy, can have unhappy life with spiritual contentment, or spiritual contentment with a happy life, or have a great life and have no spiritual contentment. I think all of those variables
What
exist.
about me? What's
I was
your
about to ask
intuition?
that. Yeah.
What's your intuition about me?
I think you're getting there way faster. You've changed from the last time I talked to you. I think you're getting there. And I think you're going to get there.
Oh, thank God. Where am I going to go?
There being
There.
contentment, there being what?
There. So there is, it's not something that can be put into words. I'm just going to call it there.